talk and not even record it.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I'm getting, and that's like, it's true. It's like, I am getting to meet people like in my niche that I don't otherwise probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny. People will be like, no, sorry, I got boundaries. I can't do a Zoom. Hey, you want to do a podcast? You know, and they're like, oh yeah. You know, it's like, I got 100 listeners a month. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's funny. So anyways.
Your newsletters are awesome. Dude, your Monday morning blessing is the best. Are we rolling in? Sweet. Dude, thanks for being here.
Cheers.
Great to have you. The Monday morning blessing emails that you send out it's literally maybe the only time of the week that I actually go, all right, I need to chill for 1 fucking minute. Can I chill for 1 minute? Yeah, I can do this. And then I read the Monday morning blessing and it's great every time. It puts me in a good headspace and I actually do stop and read it.
Yeah.
So it's working on one person.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
It's fun. It is funny. Because I write a ton of those all at once and I schedule them for sometimes 3 or 4 months at a time. So I'll get a text or an email most Mondays from 3 or 5 people. They're like, yo, how did, you know, and I don't even know which one it was. You know, I'm just like, thanks, man.
Yeah. They're all scheduled out.
But I try to take them really serious and like I'll meditate for a while and then I'll just write as many as I can and just see which ones come from the source and put them out there. So yeah, I love that. Those are helpful.
Yeah, they're awesome, dude. They're awesome. And your writing style is exactly what I need on a Monday every day, Tyler. Yeah. But on a Monday, it's like short and sweet. It's not super long. It's a paragraph.
Yep.
And your writing style just hits really hard. So you got some skills.
Thank you.
Speaking of, you got a book deal.
I did get a book deal.
Congrats. We got to toast again.
Toast again.
You've been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
What did that feel like to finally get it?
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing. It was really fun. You know, the story, what's funny is it took me, I probably had been working on the book in totality for like 5 years. Mostly because I had no idea what I was doing. And what I did do, I did wrong. Almost everything. You know, like, I literally couldn't have done it more backwards.
Yeah.
In every way, which means I've learned a ton, right? Like, so it felt like, I think, a relief, you know, like I was definitely getting to that point of like, you know, like, do I need to go do this on my own? Like, do I need to like tap into my punk rock roots and just do it DIY, you know? And it's like interesting because it's like every band I love did their own. They just made their own record labels. They produced, they put out their own stuff.
It was part of the culture.
It's part of the culture. And like that shaped me a lot was the punk ethos. And so, after probably like 40 rejections from publishers, which it hurts. Every one just hurts so bad and they try to be nice, but like, it just still hurts. And so, I was kind of getting to that point of like, what's the difference between endurance and like foolishness? And do I need to just do it on my own?
Yeah. Good point.
And like, I wasn't going to let it stop me. Like I've done enough things in my life to not stop. Yeah. Like everything has repeated failures. If you're going to do anything beautiful, you've got to just eat dirt a bunch until it breaks through. Yeah. So it wasn't the thought that I was going to quit, but it was, how am I going to keep going? Am I going to keep trying to go the traditional publishing route, or am I going to just do it on my own? Ironically, or maybe that's just kind of how it works. Like all of a sudden I had 3 offers in the same week. So after getting like 40 rejections over the course of like maybe a year, I then had 3 offers, and then I had a decision to make on like who I would work with and stuff.
Whoa, that's wild.
Yeah. So that was a really interesting kind of disorienting experience. And, you know, and again, it's like I was aware, you know, Adam, like you read those stories all the time of like, oh, it took me so long. You know, I was just watching about like the Stranger Things guys and how hard it was for them to ever get a deal. And like, so I knew I was living that story. Like I knew in 10 years, I'm going to be able to say I had 40 rejections before my book.
Yeah.
But it still sucked. It still was really hard, and you can't help but like just feel personally attacked and hurt. So anyways, it felt awesome. I think it mostly felt like a relief. Probably more than celebration. Like it's okay, here we are, I would say. But you know, it still is great. My wife and I, we always keep a small bottle of champagne in our fridge at all times, because you never know when like somebody's gonna like come tell you they're pregnant or that they got a promotion. So we have this habit of like, if somebody gives us good news, we'll always be like, pause. And then we go to the fridge, get the little champagne and pop a bottle. So like, you know, we just always have one in our fridge. And so it was fun that Chelsea got to go pop the bottle for me this time. So it was fun, but it also was just a big relief.
Yeah, that's so cool. So how'd you decide which publisher to go with?
Yeah. Well, it came down to two. Like there was one that I was like, I don't really want to work with you. And it came down to two. And there was one that was offering me more money. And they were okay, but like they never even met with me. Like I didn't have a Zoom with them. I didn't know who my editor was. They were just like, hey, here's a deal. Okay. It was more money, but there was no like personal like vibe or nothing. I didn't even meet with anybody. They just said, here's a deal, which was kind of alarming, but it was more money. And then there was this really small publisher that reached out, and they're like associated with this monastery. And
I already can tell you like this one more.
Yeah, for sure. and the lady who ends up being my editor, she was like, hey, listen, we don't have very much money. We're really small. We'd like to offer Tyler a deal, but like, can you tell us, like, please don't use us to leverage another deal, because I want to work with Tyler really bad. And I just don't want you to string me on and hurt my feelings. And she was like, so, cause like a lot of people would take deals from this smaller publisher and then use it as like and say, leverage to another publisher and say, hey, I have a deal.
Okay.
Like, are you going to give me one or not? And so we Zoomed and stuff. And it turns out that these people have published some of my heroes, you know, like they were like, there was a lot of, you know, but they're like super old. Like their art sucks. But the vibe was there. So like, you know, so even still, like we're going back with like the book cover's not going to be like a great reflection of me, I don't think.
Did they decide that?
To some degree. I mean, it's like a record label and music and stuff. Like you kind of get a say.
I don't really know how it works.
But they get the end say. You know, and I've asked, I was like, can I just do it? I have the most creative friends on the planet. Like I'll do it for free. But it's just interesting when you share, you know, creative direction. So, but with that being said, it's like, okay, the art might suck, but the energy was right. You know, and it was like they literally have published people that I have pictures of on my wall in my office, and they wanted to work with me as a human, and so I went with them. I took half the money, and it's been, you know, they've even asked for a fax at one point, and I was like, got it, interesting. That's who I'm working with here.
Copy of your ID.
But, wait a second. But they're awesome, and I should be done editing my manuscript probably tomorrow. Actually, I'm gonna be staying up late tonight and working on that. So.
Good for you. And the book is written already. It's been written for a while.
Yeah, more or less. Like that's one thing I didn't know, is that most of the time to get a book deal, you actually don't need a whole book written. You need like one or two really good chapters.
Oh.
And then you build out a proposal.
Kind of an outline, probably.
An outline and a couple chapters or something. I had written a whole book. So what's made that interesting is we've had to go back and edit the whole thing together and stuff. But so we've been going back and forth for the last about 3 months, editing it and chopping it up, and it's been really hard, way harder than I thought it would be
to edit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for so many reasons. But like, I think primarily, like what I didn't realize was how much. Like I'm primarily a public speaker. I do podcasting. I speak in front of crowds and lead retreats and stuff. And so I wrote that book like I was giving talks. You know, I give talks all the time. And I think what's interesting is when I'm realizing how much I rely on like charisma on a stage when I'm talking. And so like you can say the same thing 4 different times on a stage, but with a different joke or inflection, or, you know, you stand over here, or you drink water for pause. Yeah, you can like, but in a book, if you say the same thing over and over, like
you're repeating yourself, that's not good.
Yeah. So she's just, I mean, she's chopped it up, and, you know, and just, I think I'm learning to be a writer like this. And so it's been really fun, but I feel like not only am I editing a book, I'm also in college. Like she's teaching me how to edit a book.
Oh, that's
so it's like double the energy, because it's not just editing it. She's like, well, why don't you read this essay to learn this theory on why we're editing it like that. And here's an example of this, or listen to this podcast. So I'm learning how. All that to say, my next book I'm going to write in like literally 3 or 4 times faster from beginning to end than I will this one. Cause I've done everything backwards and way harder. I've made it infinitely harder than I need to. So my next book's going to come out so fast and it's going to be so good. And I'm honestly pretty excited for my next one. Like I'm very excited for this to be birthed out into the world, but this process has been tedious. And I'm very excited to try it in a new way. And I'm almost more excited for my next book already.
Yeah. Well, I watched you on social media spend a lot of time writing. Mm-hmm. You went on a social media sprint there for a bit where you're like, this is me. I'm going to write every day for, I forget how many days it was. And there you were every day cranking out writing for an hour a day or whatever it was. I can't quite remember. But I watched you hustle on it.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do it different? What do you want to do different with your process the next time?
Yeah. Ironically, I want to not work as hard on it. Is one of the things that I've realized. What's so interesting about this collaborative process, like hiring an editor, or I mean having an editor with this publisher, is because I spent so long with this book, it feels like my creative like neural pathways are so entrenched because I've spent so much time with it. That when Lil, my editor, you know, she'll send me a text and she'll be like, well, let's look at it like this, or let's look at it like that. I'm finding it incredibly difficult to get out of my head, or to get out of like the way in which I saw it. Right. And so I'm excited to not be so like deeply understood or like deeply entrenched in this one way. So that when she gives me feedback, it's easy to sort of like get out of the water and jump into a new pool. Yeah. But I feel like with this book, I've been so in it that when she says, why don't you look at it from this perspective? It feels like I've got to climb a whole mountain to look at it from a different lens.
Is she talking about like the subject matter? Like she wants you to write about something different, or is it more like,
no, I think
your wording needs some,
I think it's like, it's way more like the ideas are great. Like I think the concept and the ideas are great.
That's what I would assume.
But she would say things like, you know, first of all, you've said this a million times, just like this. Like use a different friggin' word, or phrase, or whatever. But also, like, you know, I think in writing, you're working so hard to communicate an idea that, like, sometimes, like, I've found that. Like she'll keep telling me, she'll say like, you're right. Your readers are smart. Like they're not dumb. Yeah. And it's like been so interesting that like, what's the difference between explaining and being thorough and talking down to the readers? Like, oh, I'm some smart guy. Listen to me, you dummies.
Yeah.
You don't say that, but it can feel like that.
Especially if you repeat yourself.
For sure.
Which we all do.
Yeah.
I do.
For sure. And like, and you know, and she's just been so good at like really helping me share things that are like in the tone and in the kind of with a more energy or a vibe that it's more honest.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And like, it's just been really interesting to see that writing is so different than public speaking. And I just thought, oh, I'm a communicator. It's the same. And it's just not even close.
Mm. So when I was in Italy, I went partially to, I don't know if we've hung out since then.
Mm-mm.
I went there partially to work on a book idea. This is my first time ever writing. I've had this idea for a while, and I just, of course, never have made time to put anything on paper.
Cool.
But I thought this is a good opportunity to do it. And I get there and I realize how difficult it is to sit and put words on paper.
Yes.
Right? I've talked about that on this show too much by now. But I'm sitting there on my laptop in a totally foreign country thinking like, I'm sure I can get inspired and it'll be poetry and, you know, it'll be fantastic. The faces will inspire me, you know? And they did. But that doesn't mean I could just sit there and like put words on paper. So I have a tendency, for one thing, to go and re-edit my work when I write.
Yeah.
Turns out, I found out this when I tried it. go back, rewrite this one damn sentence 3 times to make it perfect. And then I actually think before I went, you mentioned to me, like, hey, you need to just write.
Yes.
Like, if you obsess over the details at the very beginning and go over and fix a comma here and a word there and a sentence there, it just is not going to work. And I realized that quickly.
Yeah.
So I quickly tried to change my mindset to just be, okay, I got to get words on paper without even thinking twice about it sometimes. And just, what am I feeling? Stream of consciousness. Like, that's my first draft.
100%.
Right. So really interesting experience, because at the beginning I was really struggling with even having anything to say. And then when I do, having to make it perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So the interesting parts of writing that I'm still learning to this day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think a lot of our best things are like hidden behind like what's at the forefront of our mind. You know, so like I think a lot of times you've got to write so that you can get the thing that's in the front of your mind out of the way, so the thing behind it can actually come out. You know, and
yes.
so it's like
yes.
if you just
Actually,
keep hanging out with that same thing over and over, you can't find the thing that's stuck behind it. Like if there's, a barrel filled with ideas, you've got to get the stuff off the top of the barrel out, so that what's deeper in the barrel, probably the thing that's most matured, that's been inside your soul for the longest, the whiskey that's aged the longest, deep down in there, can like get out. So like to me, it's like get it out, so that you can keep going. Like I found that with Substack, even like writing essays or even my Monday morning blessings, it's like if I can get to a place where ideas and thoughts aren't stopped up inside of me, when I publish the things that come to me right that second, because I'm not catching up, the things that I just say like on a whim work.
Yeah.
And connect way better.
Yeah.
I mean, I got some theories about that, why that is, but like, yeah, you've got to just get it out, I think. But I think that's the point too. It's like, okay, now I have an editor, and she's the one that goes over the sentence 4 times. I'm just going to get that soulful source material and put it out there, and then I'll let somebody else do the rest.
I heard the editing is extremely important.
Yeah.
To the process.
For sure.
From friends that have done it.
Yeah. She's made the book infinitely better in every way, but it's also really hard. And I think you got to be safe. Like, I mean, I think because I've done so much work on myself, like it's been fine, but I could see how it could be brutal. Like if you're not secure in yourself, it could be brutal.
Like secure in what you have to say
and secure in just your own identity. Like even for me, like I've been 2 sneezes away from feeling like a piece of shit. Like to just get a sheet that's like mostly red, every 2 days on this project worked on forever. And she's like, this, dude. She says dude a lot. Dude, you can't do that again. And I'm just like, but she's not attacking me as a person, and obviously, but it can be so easy to misunderstand that. And
for sure. Yeah. So does she work for the publisher?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works, right? Like, so the publisher gives you a deal, and then they, to their wisdom and expertise and for what they want for their company and brand, will then work with you to make this piece into something they think they can sell. Okay. And that's helpful to their audience. So
this is a really good reason to go with the smaller publisher in your case, because they want to work with you. They understand you so far.
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, like I think if I went with a bigger one, like there would have been cooler resources artistically and maybe media wise and marketing, but the ethos of it, like I hang out at these monasteries with all these old people all the time.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm a lot more in that vibe. And so like, that's why this publishing company, I think, is the right one for me for this particular book.
Yeah.
And it's like in anything, any collaboration, you have to compromise, even in a marriage or having kids or having, I mean, I'm well known for having 1 million business partners, like against everybody's good advice, like, that, like, you have to sacrifice some things. And so for me, I'm probably going to sacrifice a little bit of cover art, and a little bit of marketing and media for the sake of like working with a publisher who has a similar soul to me.
Absolutely. Well worth it.
Well, yeah, for sure.
But, at the same time, if you see that dollar sign, you're like, oh, I can make how much?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I should go with the bigger company.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm not surprised you didn't at all.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And yeah, I mean, it's tempting for sure. And hopefully this will work out in the long run. Like hopefully the book rules, and then my next deal, I can say, hey, I have a really good book here. Like let's, and maybe hopefully in the long term, staying true to my soul, which again, I got to stick to that punk rock ethic. And like, I have to stay true to that.
Never going to change.
Like, I mean, there's parts of me that won't ever change, and that's part of it.
Yeah. So what's this book about? I know some of this, but our listeners don't.
Yeah. The working title is Born Beloved. And, the idea is like that so many of us, I think in my case, this was birthed out of kind of my evangelical upbringing, but I think this just exists in the culture a lot, where so many of us believe that we're bad, like we're born bad, that we're born flawed, 100%. We're born broken, we're born pieces of shit, we're born separate from God, all these things, right? And if we believe we're born bad, then most of our life is spent trying to rectify that. Mm. So
we're taught that at a young
age. Yeah. And even in general, like your general like self-help culture right now is like, you suck here. Let's make you whole over here. You've got to do all this stuff between here and there to like,
here's all the things you got to do.
So there's it's just always like bridging these gaps and working hard to maybe bridge a gap that never needed to be bridged in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, the idea is like so many people that I work with, and when I do life coaching and spiritual direction, is like most people are so exhausted trying to prove that they belong, trying to prove that they're good, trying to prove that they're worthy. And we work ourselves into oblivion, trying to prove it, trying to prove that we're beloved.
And it's like compensate as well for that.
For sure.
Creates insecurities.
Yep. In which case, none of the good work we think we're doing is actually done from a good place.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We work so hard trying to do this thing rather than saying, what if I was born good? Like, what if I was amazing? What if I was lovely? What if God made me the way that God intended to make me?
Yeah.
In which case, then I can go and work out and live my life and do what I do out of the goodness of who I am, out of my beauty, out of my intelligence, out of my wonderful cosmic beauty, and I birth good things into the world out of that, rather than just trying to prove that I'm good enough. Right. And so I make, I come from kind of this, Christian background and stuff. And so I make to some degree like a theological argument that we're born good, which actually is an ancient theology. Like the theologies of us being born bad is actually pretty modern in Christian history. Like it's not a
really,
yeah, it's not a thing that's always been believed.
Okay. I didn't really
tons of like Jewish mystic teaching all would say we're born good, and we could get into that if you want, but like anyways, so I make kind of that argument, but then also just talk about what happens when we believe we're born bad, and what does that look like when we live our lives. Henry Nouwen, the great priest and poet, he says the three biggest lies we believe are: I am what I have, I am what I do, and I am what other people say about me.
Oh, geez. That third one really hits hard.
Right? Like usually everybody does that with one of the three, right?
Yeah.
And so when we believe we're born broken, those are usually the things we deploy in order to sort of make up for that. But what if you're not what you do? What if you're not what you have? What if you're not what other people say about you? What if you're beloved? Then what are you free to do? Well, it's like if I can't fail, if I'm going to belong anyways, then I'm going to take a lot of risks. If I'm not what other people say about me, and I'm just loved by God, then maybe I can make a fool of myself, and I can wear pink shoes because it makes me happy, and I can try to open that business, or I can quit that job, or I can date that person. There's so many things you could do if you believed you're beloved instead of trying to earn it. But most of us are just spent organizing our lives trying to belong. So that's kind of the book. Is it's a great invitation to live the way that you were designed, and to just lean into that rather than trying to change who you are or fix who you are.
I love that. I love it. So where in the scriptures, there's going to be a lot of people listening to this in our same position, grew up in the church.
Sure.
Where in the scriptures does it say that we're born good or not, because it's now very prevalent.
Sure.
I grew up in the church, same as you.
Yep.
It's very prevalent that you're not born good. You're a sinner. You're scum. You're lower than this.
Yep.
You know, where does it say that, and when or who showed you the first time, gave you an inkling in your mind that that's not the case?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think there's a lot of really cool things in the holy text that can show us that. One of my favorite things to do is to look at the poetry of Genesis, which, first of all, we have to recognize that Genesis is written as a poem, so it rhymes in its original text.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it's poetry. So and again, you can, whether or not you want to take it literal or not, that's up to you. But most people wouldn't read poetry literally. A lot of times poetry is a way of making sense of the world. So I think and again, I'm not the only person who believes this, but that especially the earlier accounts of Genesis are a lot more metaphorical and poetic than they are literal. But even if they are literal, I still think what it offers us is really cool. First of all, God made everything, and what did God call it? Good. Yeah. God made this. This is a mantra I do with my kids. We'll be like, God made the sky and called it, and then we all scream, good. God made mommy and called her good. God made the mountains and called them good. God made the cars and called them good, whatever. And then they get to pick out, God made Minecraft and called it good. That's what my son would say. So first of all, that's how it starts. First of all, it starts in that. That's how it starts. But one of my favorite stories, Adam, is in Genesis. And we read this story of Eve and Adam eating this fruit. And they eat this fruit. And we're often taught that in this moment, that's when everything went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
You know what I love about that part of that story? They eat the fruit. You want to know where they still are? In the garden.
In the garden.
Interesting. They weren't kicked out of anywhere. They weren't exiled. Not only that, but then it says God was looking for them in the cool evening breeze. Another text says God was taking a walk in the evening garden. Not only were they not kicked out in that moment, God wasn't panicked. God wasn't pissed off. He wasn't waving a cosmic sword trying to kick them out or cut them down. God was looking for them. And actually what we see is it was Eve and Adam who started to hide, who ended up covering themselves in their shame. Yeah. It wasn't God kicking them out. And I think that's the first bit of character we really get to see in God when we fuck something up, when we step out of alignment, is God coming toward us in kindness and curiosity. What if God's first disposition when anybody messes up is, hey, where are you? It's kind of like when my kid falls down and cries.
Yeah.
My instinct is to actually move toward them. Hey, bud, you okay? I see that you jumped off the side of the roof and, scraped your knee. Sure. I came toward you. And I think over time, when you read the text, that's the pattern you see all the time. God says, this is a wise way to live. And then the people don't do it. They get hurt. They cry.
Yeah.
God has compassion and moves toward them.
Well, I think we've also sort of been taught that God shunned Adam and Eve in that moment, which may not be how it reads exactly.
Yeah, they hid
immediately. Yeah, but actually he didn't. They hid.
Bingo. They hid. They covered themselves up. They started arguing all sorts of things that just we kind of skip over really quick. But I think we miss out on God's character in that aspect.
Yeah.
I think there's a million other verses and things that, things like before the foundations of the earth, God knit you in the womb of your mother, and then later on in the text, it also says nothing can separate you from the love of God. In the book of John, it says, God is with me. God, I am in God. God is in me. We are in each other. There's a sense of unity that is also threaded throughout the whole text that I think the way I see it, and forgive me for getting too much in here. There's a great teacher. His name is Father Thomas Keating. He says the chief thing that separates us from God is the thought that we're separate from God.
I love that.
And that tends to be kind of how I view it. I think we hide. We do something that's not wise for us, or we step out of our divine alignment, and then we hide. Shame, we always hide in shame. We always run away. We cover ourselves with what we do, what we have, what other people say about us, because we don't like who we are. We don't believe we're beloved. Yeah.
You know what? You know what else is I've learned as I've gotten older and studied, not even studied, just been older and been a person who's been in the church for decades, is that we take the Bible verse by verse in the modern church and not as a whole. When you do that, you're going to find things that are difficult that seem to conflict with each other. Right? There's lots of verses, just like there's some amazing verses you just quoted about God's love and that we're good and what our true identity is. There's just as many, if not more, verses about you better obey this law, you better do this, you better not do that, or this will happen. Right? So what that means is, what do we do with these different things throughout the scripture that we at first glance think conflict with each other? Well, actually, we shouldn't be nitpicking necessarily. While we read through the whole scriptures, we need to be evaluating the whole thing, like in a wider scope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just learning this.
There's like those kinds of things, Adam. There's also these aspects of like, what if some of these people were also just trying to make sense of God in the same way we are? Like, what if they were just like, what if it wasn't all like if I wrote you a letter saying, hey, dude, like, I think this would be wise for you. And then our friend Aaron over here reads this letter I was writing to you and took it entirely literal to his context in his life. Like, that would be weird.
It's a great way to put it.
Why are you reading his mail, first of all? Second of all, there might be some wisdom there. Also,
there is.
He's living his life.
Yeah.
He has a different story than yours. And so
a long time later.
And so to just read these things as if they're written specifically to us in this, versus saying, here's a guy writing another guy a letter, or some people a letter, right? Like, based on what was going on in their story. Sure. So I think the point is this, I think, is that in the West, even that, it's an Eastern wisdom text. And we're reading it through a Western lens. The West says 10 steps to get better. In the East, it's sit on a pillow and listen for a while, so there's so many pieces to that if we only read it like a rule book or a handbook or a piece of a history literature versus a piece of wisdom literature, again, there's history in the Bible, there's apocalyptic literature, there's metaphor, there's poetry. Jesus hardly talked in literal language ever. He always was asking questions and saying parables. And so I think there's a lot of dynamics there, but I think the point is to me is that belovedness, as we're talking about it, Adam, is an embodied experience. Father Richard Rohr, he says, you can't think yourself into new ways of living. You live yourself into new ways of thinking. And so often when we try to engage with something new, in the West, we tend to think we have to learn about it, therefore we become it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how spirituality especially works, or anything, though, to be honest. I do business coaching, life coaching, spiritual stuff, and learning is not the thing that actually gets us to where we want to go. It's actually doing it. I run marathons and I'm working towards ultra marathons, and I didn't become I haven't learned to run 30 or 50 miles by reading books about running 30 to 50 miles.
This is how you run really good.
Now, have I read books? Sure. Have I watched vlogs? Yep. have I met with other runners? And
yeah,
but I actually have run those races because I've run races and I've run a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spirituality is a practice way more than it is something to be studied. So even you look at most of our services, like half of it is a college lecture, versus like I've learned more about God serving the poor, like actually being with the poor, having kids, being married, like just living my friggin' life, failing at businesses, not getting book deals. All of those things too are just as potent to finding God. And so I think I'm just as interested these days in helping people find the divine, finding divine love in their lived experience as much as I am them just learning about it. Because to just learn about it isn't going to change much. Like that's why there's so many smart ass Christians who are smarter than all of us, who are jerks, who are not nice, who aren't changing. They're smart, but it's not embodied.
They have all the knowledge.
Sure. Yeah, plenty of people will be smarter than so many of us. But then all of a sudden you just look at some like, I don't know, some Latin grandma making meals for all the kids in her neighborhood, that like just does the rosary and that's it. And you're like, she looks a lot more like what I think she should look like than say some professor, I don't know, tell us what to do or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I've always loved about the work that you do. Working with the homeless. To me, supporting you is like tithing.
Yeah.
Because I love the work you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
That's actually meaningful.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to me. Always has.
Yeah.
So who was the first person, or how did you start kind of moving down this path from traditional church as a child to what you're talking about now?
Yeah. I mean, I think, intellectual spirituality serves us well until your life falls apart, until you actually start to suffer.
Yep.
And then when you start suffering, what doesn't cut it anymore.
That's true.
And so like for me, so much of it changed when my mom died, and I had grown up pretty much waiting for my mom to die. Like she was sick my whole life.
Yeah.
And so, in that whole experience, I could tell that story if you want, but more or less she was sick my whole life. We were waiting for her to die. And then she survived for so long. She actually only died like 9 years ago or so, maybe 8. But all that to say, when she died, it was brutal. In fact, there was a 6-week period where my mom died, my son was born, my first kid, and the coffee company I had founded like doubled in size. We opened in like a new location, and like so we had like we went from like 12 to like 24 employees. All that happened to me in like 6 weeks. So like I hacked it for a minute, like I was like toughed it through, and then just I completely broke down. I had a full-on breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I just started getting help, right? So I started getting help and I started going to therapy. Then I started meeting with a spiritual director. And long story short, I started learning all the things that I just talked about. How much of my life I had spent trying to earn my love and belonging and belovedness and all of that. And my spiritual director, my guide, we started saying this phrase where we would say, when I'm standing in my belovedness, I have nothing to prove, nothing to lose, nothing to fear, nothing to gain. And I was like, that sounds awesome, but that's not real. Like, you know what I mean? Like my whole life
feel real right now.
My whole life, I've had everything to prove, everything to lose. I fear a lot, and I'm always trying to get people to like me. Yeah. Like, that's not real, David. Hey, David, love you. But I said, listen, dog. And the challenge was, Adam, it was like, the challenge was, I said, I would love for that to be real. So I made a deal with myself. I said, if I could find one moment in my life where I knew this to be true, then I'll give it a shot. If I can find one moment of belovedness in my life. But up to this point, I don't think I've ever felt belovedness like that. I've been loved by people, but I've always had something to prove, something to lose, something to fear, something to, right?
Yeah.
I've always had that. So I said, if I can have one moment. And that got even darker because I started examining my life and I was like, this isn't real. And the only way I can explain it, bro, is I had a vision. I had a dream. A lot of you guys know I do breath work and stuff. And I was in the middle of this breath work journey, and I was going really deep in my breath work. And I had this vision being in the womb of my mom. And I realized in that moment, in the womb, I had nothing to prove. In the womb, I had nothing to lose. I had everything I needed. I had nothing to fear. I had nothing to gain. There was no corporate ladder in the womb. There wasn't Instagram followers.
Shit, dude. This is wild.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the womb. Yeah. And so the womb was the first place I knew belovedness. So back to the other question we were talking about, where did any of us learn that we were beloved? Do we start bad or did we start good? I would suggest if you started in a womb of any kind, that's where you knew belovedness. So even Christ himself, his incarnation, God coming in and putting on skin and shit, even Christ knew the womb. Yeah. The belovedness of a womb. So then I started exploring that. Oh, this is where it started. This is where. Now, as I continued to learn, I started hanging out at this monastery with all these women, which I think it cannot be overstated. Like learning spirituality in an environment led by women is not the same as learning about God in an environment led by men. Yeah. And there's a nature of the feminine that is so disconnected from our modern spirituality that I think has robbed us a lot of what it could offer us. Yeah. One of the things that I learned in that, and I have a whole chapter about this in the book, is the word for womb and the word for compassion in Hebrew is relatively the same word. So one of the words is rahum, and the other word is rachamim. Rahum, rachamim. And I got to sit in this teaching with a rabbi once, and he said, whenever you read the word compassion in the Bible, you can read it as God is having compassion on them. Sorry. Whenever you read the word compassion in the Bible, you can read it as God is rewombing them. Okay. Rachum, rachamim. So when they mess up, and God has compassion, you read that every time God expresses or shows compassion, it's as if God is bringing them back into the womb, the place of belovedness, the place of union with God, the place where we depend on something outside of ourselves, right? So in the 12 steps, you have to submit to a power greater than you. That's what it's like to be in a womb. You have to say there's something beyond me that is sustaining me. Yeah. You can call it mom or dad or grandma. I don't care. But you've got to submit to that to some point, a higher power. And we've all shared that experience. And so just starting to really meditate on that and saying, okay, so one more depth, and then people are probably so annoyed with this. I don't know, hopefully they didn't turn this off, but
this is great.
I think the Garden of Eden is a metaphor for the womb. So I think they were in the womb. They had everything they needed. They were naked in the womb. And then they left and they put clothes on. They didn't be naked anymore. They went and grew up as kids, but in the womb, they had everything they needed. And, but they weren't kicked out when they messed up. They just thought and then they left. And so, which is interesting because at the end of the book, we all end up back in a garden again. And there's a new garden, and we end up, could it be that being born again is going back to the womb? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, there's some psychology out there. There's a book that I can't think of the name of, a psychology book that's all centered around the fact that human beings spend their entire existence being born out of the womb, and then their whole life is trying to get back
for sure
to the connection with their mother.
100%.
I can't remember the name of this book.
I mean, that's what there's Native American folks have. They have the ceremonies where you go into the mud hut and they do the fire in there. And it's like there's so many ceremonies from myriads of spiritualities and expressions of God that all replicate being born again, being, picked up by God and being brought back into the womb. So yeah, once once you start looking for it, you can't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in this generation, we've not been invited to look for this kind of compassionate, feminine, wildly gracious expressions of God. And so it's hard to see it because we've never been told even what to look for or what it might look like.
Dude, what was that vision like? You had a vision doing your breath work. What was it? That's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think it sounds sexier than it was. I mean, I just saw myself being in the womb. I mean, it was very peaceful. It wasn't anything other than that. Like, I mean,
their visuals.
Yeah. Like sometimes when you go into breath work pretty deep, you have an embodied experience. Like, I think like it was maybe a mix of me just being in the womb. Like I felt like I was that little baby. And then I was also watching it, I guess, at the same time. And I don't think it was very long, but it was just enough for me to be conscious of it and say, that was your starting place. That's where you belonged. And then it just clicked. It was like, oh, I was born beloved. My first knowing was belovedness. And then when all of a sudden you read all the scriptures, God knit me together in the womb of my mother before the foundations of the earth, it's like I would never, for what it's worth, like I've had 2 kids and I would never hold that baby fresh out of the womb and say, oh, you're such a wretch, like worthy of hell. Like, I can't wait for God came to die because you're just such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how it works. None of us actually believe that we're born bad, I think. If you ever have a kid, you don't believe that theology deep down. Yeah. There's just like truly in your bones, you don't believe it. I get the fear of it and the indoctrination of it. And I got a lot of grace and compassion for it, but I don't know. I've never met anybody who just prayed that over their kid. And if they did,
it doesn't make
you're
sense.
not trustworthy person, I guess. Shit. Right. I mean, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways, I think we're born beloved, dude. And I think we still are. And it's like, the more I sit in my belovedness, the more I am free to be myself. And I can express myself and chase my dreams and be the version of me that I was created to be. It's so crazy, bro. When I do the things that like Tyler, who is close to the womb, wants to do, meaning my childlikeness, my kid self, those things always work. It's always when I'm trying to do things because I'm trying to prove something, when I'm trying to prove something to the world or trying to prove something to my parents or somebody, then that shit never works. But when I just am closest to the womb and I am acting out of the divine design, like the way God intended me to exist, that shit works always.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because that's like, it's divinely designed. And so, but wherever we're working out of fear, I got to get rich because, if I don't have meaning unless I have $1 million.
Yeah.
You might get $1 million, but it's not going to satisfy. But if you make $1 million living within your belovedness, because you're just being yourself, that's a good $1 million to have.
Man, how many people exist that way today, do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't have a job if people lived out of their belovedness. I wouldn't have a job.
None.
I mean, that's most of the work I do. I mean, you'd be surprised at, the amount of people that are wildly famous, that have everything you could have ever imagined, that end up in my office, trying to learn these things, just trying to let go and not be so.
Isn't that fascinating? That part is really fascinating, is that some of the people that really had a disturbing childhood, really grew up with nothing, really were deprived of some of that love, the belovedness that we're talking about, are the ones that really go on to like do what we call amazing things in the world, right? Those are the guys that go become super wealthy off some insane idea and have incredible work ethic. They actually do it from a place of brokenness. I have something to prove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really fascinating to me. But, people like you and me still doing great things, but at the same time, we're like, let's just live, man. This is life is nice.
And I mean, to be fair, I need help a lot being reminded because my woundedness still comes up.
Of course.
But like, I mean, in the rule of St. Benedict, at the very end of it, it says, he talks about having good zeal and bad zeal. And I think that's what's just so interesting is it's like, I want to make $1 million too, but I want to do it with good zeal. Like I want to do it from the right place.
Yeah.
And I think it's just interesting. Like, and I used to think that all the people that got successful were doing it from that bad place. And that's just definitely not true. Like I used to villainize all the wealthy, all the whatever. When I think the bigger question is with what zeal, and from what place. And so, I got a lot of people in my office that have gotten successful with bad zeal, and they suffer a lot. Especially because they're not only have they been suffering their whole life, but they're disenchanted. The thing they were promised didn't deliver. Where at least the people who maybe haven't hit success yet, there's still maybe the hope that the thing will deliver. But so hopefully I've done enough work now that maybe I'll make money someday and not be in debt and be able to take my kid to Disneyland or something. But that I will have gotten to that point with good zeal, and that I'm not better or worse based on my net worth. And that's really the aim. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to build net worth. I want everybody to start businesses they love. But I hope that it comes from good zeal.
Yeah.
From that good place.
What stories stand out in your mind of people that have come into your office really struggling and then actually seen a transformation? Tell me about somebody who sticks out.
I think I don't want to say this too directly, because if you want to come meet with me, feel free. But the story that sticks out that happens a lot is so many people after working with me quit their jobs. Tons.
Really?
I mean, the list is long.
Man.
And it happens a lot because the jobs people have are not true reflections of their soul. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a big passion about your job. I'm actually not a believer in that. Like, I don't think everybody has to love their job, but I think the reasons why people have jobs is from a bad place. Like, my brother works at a bank and doesn't love it, but it allots him to do all the things he loves. And he is living with good zeal. And the bank is like, working at a bank gives him the kind of foundation to do all the stuff he wants to do.
Dude.
And I really admire 100%. That about him.
100%.
But the point is like, if he was working at a bank again to just get rich, or whatever, or if people live these stories that say, I've got to love my job entirely and I can only do what I love, it's like, that is no job, by the way. So I think like that's just what's so interesting is how much work people do out of alignment. But I think the story as well, Adam, that is just so interesting is that how many people, when they come to me, they're working so hard. And because they believe once they reach this level, they will arrive.
There's some place they haven't gotten to that they need to arrive.
And they've been working so hard, they're really choking the thing out. So what happens is as they begin to become in tune with their belovedness, they stop working so hard.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, I think, and what I find so intriguing is that they end up doing better work. They end up making more beautiful things because they're not exhausted anymore. They're not striving so hard. They're way more in a flow state. And so it's less like, I have to make this work or I die.
Yeah.
And that never produces the best work. But if it's like, I'm working because I love this and I know I'm loved and I'm actually free to fail, then they're free to take rest. And it's like, a lot of the times these people are trying to solve these huge problems. I mean, I work with people that are trying to solve $100 million problems. And the first thing I tell them to do is to stop working on it a lot of the time. And then they fight me and then they usually quit and they don't meet with me for a few weeks. And then they come back and then they say, okay, teach me to rest. And then I have them take 3 weeks off and then they solve the problem in their first 20 minutes coming back to work.
Yeah.
So I think what to me is so crazy is when people start living in their belovedness, they let go of striving and things actually begin to work out. It's almost like, it's not that we don't work. I love hard work and good work. But things tend to work out when people stop working so hard and they work well.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying work well, work with good zeal, work from a place of love.
Yeah.
Love finds a way. Love is so creative. Love is so innovative, but love doesn't do damage. And when we're working not from a place of love, we tend to do a lot of damage. And so I think that's what's so funny is just everybody succeeds in one way or another. And sometimes that means quitting a job and and then working at a place where you're going to crush it. And I think that's really fun. I mean, I think the best story I could tell Adam is mine. Like, man, dude, I owned a coffee company. I was one of the top ranked baristas in the world. USA Today said our coffee company was top 10 coffee shops in America. USA Today wrote that. And there just came a point where I was so miserable and I quit. I mean, I didn't meet with myself yet, but I quit and I let go of this thing that was the core of my identity. I'm proud of it. That company has served the community I love so much, but so much of who I was tied into that. Yep. It doesn't make the company bad, but my identity was so intertwined with that.
Yeah.
That I had to, which is why a lot of people are like, why did you sell it? Like, you could have just resigned and like owned it, you know? I was like, I needed to completely sever it from my person. And I'm doing better. It's probably doing better. All these things are really cool because I made that space.
You guys are both doing better.
For sure.
Good thing. It's a good
Which
thing.
Is a crazy ego thing, right? It was like, I probably was choking it out a little bit, holding on.
Well, I don't think that's true, Tyler.
I mean, holding on so tight that maybe it didn't get to thrive. I mean,
I doubt
there's two, you know, I don't know.
I doubt it.
Here, I'll take a refill over there. Yeah. But I mean, it is an ego trip. Like, it's, you know, like, I can remember trying to leave and my spiritual director finally he's like, Tyler, like, you're amazing and you're not as important as you think you are. like cut it out. Yeah. Like, you know, but anyways,
the wise words.
Anyways.
Yeah. You know, who's really, I think, got it figured out with a work-life balance is Steven. That guy. And I think his episode will come out right around the time yours does here. But he is
the Godfather.
Dude, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. He wants to work a regular job.
Yes.
He wants to work a regular job so that he can make art.
Yes.
That's it.
Bingo.
He's not trying to impress anyone.
Yeah.
He's not trying to work hard.
Yep.
He's not trying to accomplish anything with his day job. Like, for me, this is all I do.
Yes.
I got to be the best marketing agency. I got to be the best whatever. I got to work hard. I do work more hours than anybody that I really know, except for one guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The opposite of that, and he has it figured out, and I'm working on this because of him and because of guys like you.
Yeah.
He's trying to make art.
Yes.
Just in the same way that you're trying to tell people that life is about way more than the external influences, the external pressures that we have.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot from both of you guys.
Yeah. I owe him a ton, you know, and we've, you know, and I think similarly, and the same is said for you, bro. It's like, you know, people who have suffered are willing to have suffered and let their suffering be part of their story, are on the path of awakening to these kinds of things.
Yeah.
You know, we know Steven has suffered. You've suffered. You've lived most of your life without a dad.
Yeah.
And there's a piece to you that even still, Adam, that you work more than most, probably could chill out a little bit. That like you also are one of the kindest, most loving people, most supportive people in the city. I feel that same way about Aaron Noble Brown behind the computer too. Like,
yep. Amen to that.
If I did a concert tomorrow, he'd probably be the first one there.
Yep.
And like, but none of us have had easy lives. And I think, you know, there's something to say for like, you know, the courage of somebody like Steven or like you who have been willing to suffer. It really allows us to find that space to just exist in the world like that. But yeah, I think again, Steven, I think knows his belovedness a lot. And I think, you know, I think you're exactly right. And definitely listen to his podcast before mine. I think this community owes him a lot, and a lot of the people that I work with owe him a lot. And he's he's
both of you guys
for sure.
He is. Both of you guys have your own art form and your own totally unique way of living life and bold way of living life. Right. And it's different, but I love both of it. Both of you guys for that reason.
How do you see that in me? I'm curious. When you say bold, what is that? What, like, where does that come from?
Well, I mean, everything you just talked about is like, it's something that the world needs, and people who grew up in the church need, but you just never hear it.
Yeah.
But you're out there doing it. You're writing books about it, and you're not afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're also such a friendly person, and your fashion sense is so unique. You know, you're not afraid of anything. And Steven's the same way. Or it looks like you're not afraid of anything.
Yeah,
of course you're a human.
There you go.
Of course you're a human. We're all humans. But I love the way you're being yourself. You know? And I love this new fashion area you're in.
Yes.
I remember the days when you said to me one time, I own one pair of pants.
Yep.
Totally. And I got rid of everything else.
Yes.
And it was probably 2 shirts and one pair of pants.
Yeah.
And that hurt me a little bit because I own a closet full of pants.
Sure. You know, that's been a really interesting journey of mine. And I love talking about this. I'm pumped about this. It's been so healthy for me. You know, what's interesting is I grew up with these narratives. And we all get them, right, Adam? Like stories that we're born with. And they root themselves down in our subconscious. And I think we tend to live out the stories we tell ourselves. So back to the beginning, if we tell ourselves we're born bad, we live that story and we live like that.
Yeah.
One of my stories was there's never enough. Like my mom was always sick. So I think it started with there's never enough time. But also there was never enough money because we were always just taking care of mom, and my dad was a pastor. My mom could never work. So like there never was money. Right. And there's so many things I could talk about, but to start here, there was never enough. I think as I kept growing up, that was my mindset. Like the hills never have money. There's never enough money. You're never going to have any. You wouldn't know what to do with it if you got it. I truly didn't know what retirement was. That was never talked about. Investing, I think that was a word I never heard until high school.
Me neither.
You know, I knew nothing about that. So anytime I even got $20, I would spend it in 1 second because I thought I'll never have this again. So I need to spend it right now. So I never saved money.
Interesting. I did it the opposite. I have $20. I need to save it because I'll never have another $20 ever.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And I wonder where that story comes from. So then growing up, going to college, I would meet people that had some money or self-expression and things. And I felt so much shame about that deep down. I don't think it was conscious. It was rooted deep down. That I started to, my ego developed this narrative that said, anybody who's rich, anybody who has money, anybody who has things is bad. Which really was me trying to prop myself up. But deep down, I was trying to prove to the world that I was good. Because in that moment, I didn't believe I was beloved.
Interesting.
And so I made a story.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, right? So I am what I have. For me, it was just inverted, but it still was the same story. It was, I am my one pair of pants. I'm better than all you fuckers. But it's still the same story, right? I am what I have.
Yes.
I'm better than all of you. I belong. I'm like St. Francis.
I can live on nothing.
I can live on nothing.
You guys need 10 pairs of pants.
But deep down, it was insecurity, fear, not believing I was good enough.
Right.
And in living out that lie, I was suppressing so much of who I really am. I too believe I'm an artist. I think I'm really creative. I think when I express myself the most is when I help the most people. Right now, putting my outfits on the internet is my best performing content on Instagram by far. like
mine too.
3x.
What is that? I'm like,
because people are desperate to be themselves. Our greatest calling in life is to be ourselves.
Yeah. Well said.
St. Augustine says, God, help me know myself so I can know you. Bono says, free yourself to be yourself if only you could see yourself. we were made this way. And so what's interesting is I think that was cool. And I'm, you know, proud of myself for not like, I don't know, living beyond my means or whatever, but mostly it was actually my ego trying to protect myself from being insecure. And the more work I've done and the more I've been safe in who I am, that's when really my self-expression and fashion has begun to sort of blossom. And then I think where it really, really broke through, which is so funny coming from a guy influenced so much by punk. And again, so much of what I'm saying sounds not punk, right? Like I was carrying what everybody thought of me and stuff.
Right.
But like, is when we couldn't afford to go to the Eras tour. But we could afford to watch it on Disney Plus. And I'm married to a white woman, so we watched the Eras tour and we listened to a lot of Taylor Swift.
You better believe it.
And we were watching the Eras tour, and it blew my mind, Adam, at how she was endorsing every era of her life. Like so many of us look back on the older versions of ourselves and we're like, I didn't like that guy.
Oh, I don't want to go back to who I was then. Or I'm embarrassed of who I was then.
Yeah. And for her, like that tour and just watching the sets change and her costumes change and all of that, it was like she was endorsing every version of herself that was figuring life out at the moment.
Yep.
And I realized a lot of the times, and this was a huge awakening for me. Like I think I legitimately owe Taylor Swift for this. Is like, I think there was so much of me, especially when it comes to fashion, that has wanted to be expressed, but I was scared of changing because I didn't want to look like a fake or a fraud. I didn't want to have 10 different eras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tyler used to not wear anything, and now he has 3 drawers of pants.
Yeah.
What a fake. He never knew who he was.
Yeah.
But I think and so like for me to see her endorse it, that's why I'm calling this era my fashion era. Like, I think I'm going to look back on this in 30 years and be like, that was the era where Tyler, went for it. But I think what's so interesting about that is we have to learn, if we want to be a people that grow and evolve and become the best versions of ourselves, we have to learn to bless our old eras. And here's why. If we can't bless the old versions of ourselves, then I think we will live paralyzed in the present moment because we're scared that our future self is going to judge our present self also. But the more our present self can look back on our former selves and say, bless that kid who did his best, bless that girl who did her best, then we're going to be free to just experiment in the present moment because we know we're not going to judge ourselves later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so watching Taylor endorse all those past versions of herself to me said, okay, I can risk it for the biscuit here. I'm going to try to express myself. I'm going to try to find this part of my true self. And if I mess it up, if I just make a goof of myself, if I spend money I shouldn't have, I'm not going to judge myself later. I'm going to be compassionate to that kid.
That was a different era.
Yeah, it's just a different era. That was 3 Tylers ago.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It's different, not better or worse.
Bingo. And so that
really
good
has point. You're turning me into a Taylor Swift fan now.
And then
my sister is going to eat this up.
I love that. And then Godfather Stephen, because I said, I wouldn't even know where to start. And Godfather Stephen, he told me, he said, it's okay to copy somebody else's style until you can figure out your own. I felt so scared of like just copying things on Pinterest or copying what he does or what you do.
Hey, by the way, everything is copied from something else.
Totally. Right. So what a dumb fear. Right. But like,
dude, do you think anything is brand new?
Yeah.
Creativity is hiding your sources. Mm-hmm. Somebody told me that a long time ago. And I went, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And so Stephen said, copy people until you figure out what you are and what you want. And that gave me permission pretty much to give it a go. And it's been so healthy for me. So healthy.
Isn't it fun?
It's
like my happy place is eBay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like I'm still learning so much, like where to get things and how to do it. And, and I really don't have any money. So it's like, I got some stuff at Black Friday and now I'm just winging it because I only was able to get a few things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, there's still so much to learn, and even putting together an outfit and like, It does take a lot of time. Like that's a funny thing of like having to allot the time in the morning to like figure it out. Cause I don't, it's a skill that I'm learning. Like, I don't think I have a knack for it. Maybe I do, but I'm trying to like awaken the knack.
Yeah.
But it's still taking some time to like put together a few things that are honest and that are right. But yeah, I'm learning how to thrift, and like I've never even thought about going to eBay yet.
Yeah. But you've been thrifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
a little bit.
I have a thrift list for you that I'll share.
Yeah.
I have every great thrift store in town in a list, and it's arranged in order of like traveling around.
Yep, that's awesome.
The whole town in the most efficient way. I can tell you how long it takes, how long you should spend at each location, how long the drive time is. I got it dialed in. So I'll tell you, thrifting is my thing for sure. So I'd be glad to share it with you. But if you're looking for something real specific and unique and hard to find, eBay's great.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch. Poshmark.
Yeah.
There's a bunch.
Yeah.
So there's ways to find it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been fun and scary, and even that, it's like these funny stories we make up. Like, spiritual people can't look nice. You know, like I'm a spiritual teacher, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be on Preachers and Sneakers necessarily, right? Like, I don't want to, but I also like, I do want to express. And just because does that mean I'm like, just because I'm a spiritual teacher, does that mean I'm not allowed to like wear a nice pair of selvage denim? You know what I mean? Like these funny stories that we get told and that we believe, and that like, so it's been an interesting thing is like, again, back to my original point, being myself has taught me so much about God, about the stories I live, and how much these like fake stories or these stupid stories just, they run our life and they're not even true. Like, yeah, we just live these stories all the time that aren't even true.
Yeah. Yeah. So how has the breath work side of things impacted this so far? What's going on with that in recent days?
Yeah. You know, I mean, breath work for me is just, it's foundational part of my daily practice.
Wim Hof method, folks.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah. So I'm a certified Wim Hof method instructor. I've trained with Wim Hof, met him a few times, and, yeah, I mean, there's a couple things. One is that it regulates me every day, and it's a time for me to enter into silence. And, and when I go into silence, I'm able to connect with the source, and I think I can hear God better when I'm quiet. And so there's a whole bunch of chemical things and stuff that really help with that. But more than that, I think to me, the practice of, so I mean, I do breath work, and then I do cold plunges every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh, that's badass. Another reason I want to be you.
Come on over.
I love a cold plunge, but every day?
Yeah, every day. And in part,
Aaron, we got to get on this.
My one of the people I admire the most, I've never met him. His name's Toby Morris. He has probably the best podcast on the internet called One Life, One Chance. And he always puts everybody on his podcast in his cold plunge after every episode. He's also sponsored by Liquid Death, and so he has a plunge that
one of the coolest brands
that is a Liquid Death can.
Planet.
And so he puts them into the Liquid Death can. And anyways, yeah, Liquid Death,
dude.
I actually was wearing a Liquid Death hoodie this morning. Anyways,
such cool branding.
They are perfect.
Absolute genius. What's another way we can sell water?
Perfect.
Let's change the branding
in every way. Liquid Death is God.
The depth.
Oh yeah, there's an accident.
The origin of it, but I don't know this.
But again, like back to my point, he was kind of being in his true self. He wasn't trying to make a big fancy company. He was just making fun commercials on the side. And then that's exactly what I mean, though, when it's like, when we're just being ourselves, we tap into the divine source because we're the most accurate version of how the divine source designed us. And things work when we're just being ourselves.
Things work when we're just being
long story short, he wasn't trying to make a water company. He made a commercial for fun with his buds. And people were asking him for water based on the commercial, and he wasn't intending to sell it.
Wow.
And then he had a viral video. Yeah.
I got to look this up. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I've always just loved the branding.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah.
Do
you have a tattoo yet?
Liquid tattoo. I don't, but
let's go get Liquid Death tattoos.
I would do that in a second.
Bro, I am down. You know who's back in the tattoo game? Drake Troby.
Ah.
Do you have any of his stuff?
I've never been tattooed by Drake, but Tiger Wine did show up on my YouTube today when I was listening to music and writing my book. Yeah. That's not Drake. That's
his brother.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome.
Anyways, so awesome. Well, we just took a trail. I can't remember what we were talking about, but
we were talking about Wim Hof. You know, when I went to your workshop, the Wim Hof method workshop, it was exactly what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said before, I'm a constantly go type of person. It's well after work hours on a Friday right now.
Yes.
And this is normal for me.
Yes.
I don't ever stop. And I really need to learn to stop.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's been a few months, but when I went to your workshop, I actually sat in the moment.
Yes.
I did a cold plunge.
Yes.
I did the breath work.
Mm-hmm.
We did the thought work, whatever you would call it.
Yeah, the mindset.
The mindset work. And I felt a major difference. I actually was able to slow down and be in the moment, which is something that me and I think many, many people struggle with.
Yes.
Living in the moment.
Yep. And I think so. First of all, like there's two aspects to that. First of all is I think I'm not always, but mostly really good at living in the moment because I practice it every day.
Yeah.
So when you say, "Oh, it's so cool, you get in the cold," I don't like getting in the cold. It sucks, but I practice being in the moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of the time when I sit with somebody and they're telling me their deepest, darkest secrets, or we're working through their struggles, or I'm helping them scale their business, and I'm, it's so funny. Like all these guys, it's like again, like I don't have that much money. Like I'm in debt. I'm not successful in a lot of metrics. And I got all these people that work, executives at Amazon and Facebook and professional athletes and all these people that are asking me for help. And the only thing I don't have millions of dollars. I don't know how to invest your money, but I have practiced being in the present moment.
Yeah, they're like, well, what's that? What good is that going to do me?
And that's what's helpful.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
Let me tell you.
And that's why I can often see what they need. It's not that I'm a guru. I don't think I'm that much smarter than nobody. Like we all can read the same books. Like I don't have some divine enlightenment.
Right.
But I do practice being in the present moment literally every day. The other thing that the cold does and why it's so helpful to all of this is that, again, you get in the cold and you feel anxious. And then the whole point of that is you get to calm.
Yep.
And every day I practice getting to calm. And how many of us just live constantly anxious? We all live at a 6 or a 7 or an 8. And then our kid throws mac and cheese against the wall and then we scream at them.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's like I don't scream at my kids most of the time because when my kid throws mac and cheese against the wall, it's kind of like being in the cold plunge. My anxiety and my frustration goes up.
Yep.
But I've been practicing how to go. Ugh.
Yep.
And I think that's why when I get cut off at work or when Chelsea, my wife came home with a ticket the other day and it was like for 3 seconds, it was like, and then just like a cold plunge.
Guess what? We have control over.
So like, it's not that I'm some Zen guy. I've practiced this for like 9 years.
Yeah.
Like it's like people have big muscles are that way because they've lifted weights. Like I'm not a guru. I've just practiced being calm.
It's practice. It's consistency.
Yes. Resting, taking a day off is a skill. It's something you practice.
Boy, I haven't practiced that a day in my life.
It becomes easier the more you practice it. Like you have to learn how to rest. Everybody's like, I don't know how to rest. And it's like, well, you've not practiced.
Yeah.
Well, like usually the first 2 or 3 Sabbaths that somebody does when I'm coaching them are some of the worst days of their life. They're so anxious. They're so stressed. But it's like, you got to practice it. Nobody'd be mad at you if you didn't know how to play baseball the first time you went and played baseball. You've got to practice. Rest is a practice also.
Yeah.
But once you practice it and learn how you rest, for what it's worth, there's 7 different types of rest. It doesn't just have to be Netflix. I take my longest runs on my rest day, on my Sabbath, because I spend most of my days sitting with people I need to get physical exertion to rest and things like that. But anyways, rest is a practice. And that's where the cold is so good though. As I practice chilling out, I practice being calm and peaceful. It's a practice.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to work on it. I got to work on it. That's for sure. You planning a race? Are you training for a specific race or what?
Yeah, I've had a small knee issue, so I haven't been able to run too much. So my wife and I had to cancel the Honolulu Marathon last December. So
just this past December?
Yeah, we had signed up for that. But my patella got messed up, and so I've been getting this like special therapy at this place, and it's been working. So I've been running 5Ks again, and so I'm going to try to run a 10-miler in the middle of the summer, up in Fairplay. And if that race goes good, then I'll start working back towards there. So my ultimate goal is to run 100 miles. And again, that was going to be probably my goal for next year. But at this point, it's probably going to have to be now probably 2 years out at least, as long as I stay healthy. So I've got one race on the books, and we'll see. But I miss it. But I finally have found some good stuff, and I think we've addressed the issue. So yeah, I've not run as much as I should be.
Did you push yourself a little too hard?
For sure.
Is that how you got the injury?
Yeah, for sure. And I pushed myself, and honestly, like I've just not been holistic with it. Like I should be lifting weights and stuff. And long story short, I don't have any ass or ankles, is what my therapist has said. And I need more ass and more ankles. And so because just like I don't have glute muscles and my ankles are weak, like I've just overcompensated and really messed up all my alignment. And so I've been having to do a lot more muscle building as well, which isn't fun.
Yeah, it's not the kind of training that you're passionate about, but you got to do it so that you can do this other thing better.
Yeah.
100% get it.
So that's a little bit of annoying. So yeah, I got a 10-miler coming up, and hopefully everything works out, but it seems like it will be. And so, and then maybe if that keeps working out, I could get to marathon ready by the end of the year. And I don't know, I'd have to get a few more clients or something, but maybe we could get to Hawaii, but who knows?
Let's do it.
Who knows?
Let's do it. Let's get you to Hawaii. Do it. Well, dude, awesome to have you on. Always good to talk to you. What do you want to leave people with in terms of how do they find your book? How do they get in contact with you? The newsletter is extremely important. Everyone needs to sign up for that newsletter.
Let me ask you this, Adam, first of all, because I think this is really important. This is a practice that I think is really encapsulates so much of what I've talked about today. I'm curious, what are some things you like about yourself? Like, what are some things that you love about you?
Some things I like about myself. Not talking about myself.
Yeah. Like I just,
other people that I think are cooler than me.
I'm sitting here feeling very similar. Like, like there's so much about you that I admire that I wish I could inhabit. So honored that you would see any value in what I do. I'm curious, what do you see in you? And the point is I know this is uncomfortable, but I mean, you asked me, what do I want to leave the people with? Like, I think it's tragic. This is such a hard question to answer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because like you're amazing, and I admire the hell out of you. So I mean, I think this is a practice I do with some people, and I'd encourage listeners to try it. But yeah, I'd be curious. What, as I put you on the spot here, what do you love about you?
A little bit like you, I like my own boldness and unafraidness to be myself. Mm-hmm. In Colorado Springs, I'm a unique character. So are you. Mm-hmm. We're very similar in that way. Yeah. But I'm not afraid of it. That has taken me a while to get to for real, like deep inside, not just on the outside.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like my ability that just seems kind of natural to attract people, to attract good people to myself. I don't really know how I do it, but I find myself surrounded with really high quality people. Mm-hmm. Yourself, Aaron, my staff at Wolf and Key. my friends and colleagues in the business community and nonprofit community. It's just a lot of good people that are passionate about what they do and thinking way beyond themselves.
Yep.
Right. And sometimes I look back, and this is what I'm writing my book about, is how do you build good relationships in life and then experience a successful, satisfying life because of it throughout your whole life. I'm having trouble putting it on paper, but that's one thing I like about myself, is that I look back and I'm like, oh, this feels like kind of an accident. I feel blessed to have all these good people around me, because fortunately they're sticking around, and I feel blessed by that. And I don't know how I'm doing it, but I'm honored by it,
And I'll of course have you on my podcast soon. But this is your podcast and people are here because you're awesome. I'm curious, like you say you're blessed. You experienced a great tragedy in your life. Like your dad passes away. Like there's myriads of people that would say my life isn't blessed at all.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how have you tapped into that and been able to find blessing in your life, or be that with a story that could have crushed so many people from thriving in their life?
I appreciate you asking that. This is the thing that I think is most difficult for people, is gratefulness, because it will create a satisfying life for you. If you're grateful, you will be happy in life. Period. Joyful maybe is a better word. Everything's not going to be perfect. But if you're grateful, you will have joy in life. You will live a successful, fulfilling, satisfactory life. Right? So, my dad passed when I was super young. I was 3. My sister was 1.5, and my mom was pregnant with my other sister.
Yep.
When my dad and my grandpa at the same time in the same vehicle died in a freak accident. They collided with a train in their work truck in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. Right. So I never had a dad, and my mom never remarried when we were younger. I was like 28 when she remarried finally. So fortunately, I grew up, my mom taught me to be thankful, to be grateful in every situation.
Yeah.
Right. She taught me that everything you have is a blessing from God. You don't need anything else, to some of your points earlier. You don't need anything else to be loved. I love you how you are. God loves you how you are. You already have everything you need. And you shouldn't actually be striving for anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
now that doesn't mean that as I grow older and I start a business and I get involved in the community, that I don't want more and more and more all the time and I become a workaholic, because I kind of am.
Sure.
But it just means that deep down, I know that I already have what I need. And to your point earlier, I already am loved. Right. So something about that, I think, brings other good people like yourself around me that really fulfills me.
Do you think there's a sense of being raised by women and being surrounded by women?
Oh, that's a great point.
Formed you in a different way?
Great point. Mom and 2 younger sisters. That was my upbringing. That's my whole life. Right. So, there's some bad stuff that came with that. I was told that I had to be the man of the house. And now we know that that's not a good thing to tell young boys. Right. But they taught me gentleness and kindness and love and emotional maturity.
Wow.
They taught me a lot of great things.
I love that about you. You're so
Thank
gentle and in tune, I feel like, with me. Like, I feel like when you take me out to lunch or when we hang out, you see me. That's a very feminine, beautiful quality of yours. I love that about you.
I appreciate that. Yep, it just comes from being raised around women, and I picked on them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. But it still got in there. The gentleness and the love for other people is, you're right, a very feminine quality, and I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I admire the hell out of you, and there's so much about you that I hope to embody in my life on my journey, and yeah. So thanks for having me. Yeah, Tyler Hill.
I appreciate that.
TylerHill.net/Monday is where you can get my Monday morning blessings.
Of course.
TylerHill.net/Monday. The Tyler Hill Podcast is the name of my podcast. The book is called Born Beloved, and if you sign up for my email list or follow me on Instagram, I will not be quiet about my book coming out. So, the great, one of the saints in my life, Tyler, the Creator, who truly is one of the biggest influences in my life. Like I almost cry when I think about him. But he talks a lot about just like, I'll never stop promoting my work. Like how he talks so much shit about people who post once, like, hey, my song is out, and then they're scared to like. Yep. So I will be channeling Tyler the Creator big time when the book comes out. So if you follow me anywhere, like, you'll know the book's out and where to get it. But it'll be available everywhere. And I'm hoping to have the most creative book launch ever. It's not going to be the biggest because I'm not very famous, but I hope to have the most creative book release party of all time. And so I'm working on that right now.
Dude, let me know how I can help.
And so I'm hoping, who knows if it'll actually work, but I'm trying. So, but yeah, TylerHill.net/Monday, the Tyler Hill Podcast. And then all of my socials are The Tyler, which is THUH, The Tyler, TYLER, The Tyler. Dude. Big shout out to Aaron Noble Brown, also behind the mic.
The big producer.
Also, just for what it's worth, there's a great music video he has. What's the song called? We don't dance, we sway. We let the music play. That's in one of my YouTube playlists. And
it's so good.
I'm probably half of the views of that YouTube video. Seriously.
How are you 500 million of a billion?
Yes. But seriously, Aaron Noble Brown, the producer back here, is probably the most supportive, kind, loving person
he is
100%. That I know. And like, and I can just remember like when I was making music, and Aaron always showed up, and like, legitimately sometimes when my friends do things and I got kids, I got a lot going on, and like, I don't want to go. I honest to God think Aaron Brown would show up.
He would go the fuck up.
It haunts me like a ghost. Like, you better show up and support your friends, even if I'm like so tired. And so, anyways, just shout out to him behind all the buttons back there.
He gets it
because he is behind a lot of the beauty this city has ever seen.
Yep, there it is. Right on. Well, thanks again, man.
Yeah, love
you. Good to have you on. Love you, dude. All right, later. Stop. You didn't question. Oh, I forgot to ask the question. How long did
it go? Dude, great. That's fine. Great. Dude, I run ultra marathons. I listen to 3 and 4 hour podcasts. I love this shit. Me and Levi, me and Levi, my episode 50 I did with Levi, and yeah, we talked because we talk in general for hours. Dude, he's becoming one of my best friends. Like, but he interviewed me for my 50th episode, and yeah, we talked for like 3 hours. It just is like, it's my most listened to episode too. He is the best. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because he was like, would you do a show? I was like, well, he could do a show with John. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, dude, I can remember like it wasn't that show, but it was another show he did at Jives. And I found out that I got to do that when I was on my honeymoon with Chelsea. And I was so, because that was like a dream come true to do a show with Levi. Because he was like, I mean, it was him, Listener, and Bradley Hathaway. And I was like, I didn't know Levi, but I found out on my honeymoon, and I don't know if that was you or whomever, but like that I got to do a show with but that also on my honeymoon. Yeah. And then I also found out though on my honeymoon that the Chariot was breaking up. That video came out also on my honeymoon. I'll never forget that. Everybody started texting me like, "I'm so sorry," and I was like, "What the fuck happened?" And 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 then I couldn't see the video because I was in Mexico and the YouTube wouldn't work. And so I didn't know what happened until I got home. Well, I figured it out eventually, but yeah, I couldn't even see the video. Yeah. God, dude, I love the Chariot still so much.
We still rolling? Jeez. Yeah, good call. Oh man. I forgot to ask you the question we ask every guest on this show.
Podcast. I have no problem talking.
I think you'll be back. For sure. But what's something that you love about Colorado Springs?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe also tell people how long you've lived here and
sure.
Something you love about Colorado Springs, and then something you think we need to do better in Colorado Springs.
Wow. Well, I will tell this. Yeah, that's a question. That question is going to lose me clients, probably. But I'll tell you how I feel. I'll tell you what I love about this city. First of all, okay, I moved here in 2009 for college, and what was so beautiful about this city when I moved here is the thing that I still find to be beautiful about it. So I moved here. Long story short, we can save maybe my whole story for the next podcast. But I was a Division I, potentially a professionally recruited baseball player in high school, and I quit because I was more of an artist deep down and creative. And I moved here to go to college. But mostly I moved here because the college I went to, UCCS, didn't have a baseball team. And so it was like a place where I could like not be associated with baseball. And all these hipsters and artists and creative people started kind of embracing me and bringing me in the fold. And Brian Hopkins, we were just talking
B-Hop.
He just mentioned, but all these people, and then I met Aaron Brown, and I met like all these people that let me be creative, and it was the people that really brought me into the fold and helped me start finding my true self, I think, for the first time. And it was the people. It was entirely the people. And and I've started multiple businesses, and I've started, I helped start probably the specialty coffee movement in Colorado Springs, and opening the principal's office, and even specialty cocktails, like really good cocktails. I mean, so many things like that, it was like the first time, and all the innovations that Eric and me and Joe and Erica and all the people made. But anyways, like, as I served in this city, what was so interesting, like I spent a lot of time in the service industry, serving drinks, and a lot of time between working the principal's office for like 6 years, and then opening Loyal Coffee for another 7 years. Or like I was in the industry a long time, so I had a beat on the town. And I'll tell you a pattern that I saw dramatically, a pattern that happened over and over and over again, was people would come to me and they'd say, "Tyler, thanks for serving me coffee or cocktails for so long. I'm moving to Seattle. The art's better. The food is better. The culture is better. Hey, dude, I'm moving to LA. Blah, blah, blah. I'm moving to Tokyo. Blah, blah, blah. Everything's better." And the truth is, objectively, those things are better even still. Like the food here, a lot left to be wanting. The hospitality, absolutely, there's a lot left to be wanting.
Yeah.
the art, whatever. Okay. And so many of those people came back. Tons. We started making jokes in the service industry of how long it would take for them to come back.
Yeah.
And they didn't come back for the food. They didn't come back for the art. They didn't come back because we don't have enough music venues. They didn't come back because of anything other than the people. And that's it. I mean, and I think that's it. And I think the whole Smolorado Springs nature allots for that. Like, you are only 1 degree of separation away from the most interesting people in the city.
Yeah.
And it's a big enough city where there is a lot of interesting people, but there's not too many barriers with them.
Yep.
Like, most of us know the mayor. Like, because he owned a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Like, most of us know the people that own the venues in town. Most of us know the people who own the restaurants. Like there's really not that many degrees of separation from the coolest people that are here.
Yeah.
And I think there's just an aspect of that, which is just so interesting to me. And so beautiful. And I love that.
It's fantastic.
And it's just like, yeah, I mean, if you know Adam Morley, you're 1 degree of separation from the most influential, interesting people in the whole city. Like, it's not that hard. Right. And I think that's pretty cool. So it's the people. That's why everybody comes back. It's why people come here and stay. I think it's what surprises people too. People who come here for the mountains or they come here for whatever. And they're like, wow, there's some really cool people here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that amount of love and support and grace, though, hinders a lot of the progress that the city could experience in terms of beauty and excellence and quality and financial growth. And I think that's where I would encourage the city to grow.
Interesting.
I think just because it's local, for example, doesn't mean it's good. And I think tons of people support local shit that sucks. And it only produces continued mediocrity. And I think, so for example, in that, like when like a business shuts down and then they'll blame so many things other than the fact that they weren't excellent.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people just supported the mediocrity, but it kept everything mediocre. And it's like I can remember the amount of local business owners when they learned that Loyal Coffee hired an interior designer, when they learned we hired a graphic designer, when they learned that we hired somebody to come up with our name for us, like a branding agency. Like, we didn't name ourselves. They named us. They came up with our colors. They came up with our font. They came up with everything.
Yeah.
And like, what a waste of money. That doesn't matter. And it's like, well, why is Loyal? Well, so I think like a lot of the community, out of their overflow of love and support, support mediocrity.
Yeah.
And that only continues mediocrity. So for example, people often are saying, well, why do these Denver things come in and like they're so much better? Well, because they've been in an environment where if you're not the best, you lose.
Yeah.
Right now in the city, I think in terms of the bars and the restaurants especially, if you're not the best, you kind of can still flutter. And like, I guess I'm there, and there's a huge difference of supporting the little guy. Like, I'm about that.
Yeah, of course.
But I also think that like mediocrity almost gets encouraged. And like, and I think, I think if there was a little bit more competition and effort to be excellent, and if excellence got rewarded more, the rising tide would raise all the ships. But not always is there space for the tide to be raised, because people just are going to support what's local rather than supporting what's great. And I think if we continued to invest what was great, then the local things would elevate to that.
Yep. I never thought about that perspective.
And so I think we in what we call supporting local often encourages mediocrity and hurts a lot of people who are trying to do really beautiful things.
Man, I love that take. That makes a lot of sense.
So I guess
it makes a lot of sense.
I'm not a support local guy is my point. I'm a spend your money at the best things and the things that rule, and that makes everybody better. And eventually the locals will catch up.
Do what we can to help local people crush it, but they need to crush it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't need to prop each other up just because we're local.
Yeah, I think
we also need to demand excellence.
Yes.
That's a super interesting perspective, and I totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
I mean, So, and so it's just things like I don't know, like the recent, like there's some businesses closed because the Tejon Street thing, like and people were working on Tejon Street and trying to make Tejon Street better.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, it closed because they were fixing the street. It's like, no, like if you were good enough, and if you innovated and you tried to elevate, people would still park and walk there.
Yeah.
If it was good enough. You weren't good enough to make the effort that if you had to park 2 blocks away, it wasn't worth the effort anymore. It's not the street's fault.
You're talking about the recent redo?
Yeah.
Dude, they didn't even take away parking, did they?
No, but
they took away one lane.
There is a particular brewery that closed down that is blaming that.
Oh,
and
there it is.
And they're literally saying it's because the street closed down and the city doesn't care about them and local people don't want to go shop.
I see.
And what I'm saying is if you ruled and if your beer was better, if your drinks was better, if you had people that remembered my name,
yeah,
and it was awesome,
that's it.
I would walk miles to experience that.
Yeah, and we can all point to places that I like.
Drive to Las Vegas to watch U2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's good, I don't know. So just because it's local doesn't mean it's good. Be better and you're not going to close. And just like, again, pretend like you're in LA. Pretend like you're in New York. Even if you're here, you'll rise to the top so fast.
Dude, have you been to New York City?
Oh, yeah.
I assume you've been there.
For sure.
I've only been there one time. Different level of food and beverage. And I know you've studied this, so you know.
Yes.
But I only experienced it one time. I was like, oh, got it. Any place you stumble into in an alleyway is going to give you 5-star service, incredible food, incredible drinks. You're going to pay for it, but it's all going to be the highest quality because it's sink or swim. Swim fast. Like you have to be good to survive there. And I didn't really grasp that until I went there.
And so the tide is so high, everybody else has to meet it. And here's my point. I think the locals are creative enough, smart enough, and excellent enough to meet that, but they don't have to.
Yeah.
So why, like, and the natural kind of evolution of things, you don't have to. And so that's kind of my point is I want the locals to succeed so bad. I think we need more Denver, more LA, more New York in the city to help raise the tide that will in turn inspire and educate and force the locals to up their game.
I can think of places, I'm not going to name any names, but I can think of places that have been around forever and they're surviving and doing okay because people know them and people have always gone there.
Yep.
And it's just like, they have the recognition and the history to make it, but they're mediocre.
Yep. And then I guess just what makes me sad is like, I think all those places have the potential to survive any storm that comes if they were willing to level up. But there's no need and there's no inspiration to actually execute or be better and things like that. And so I think my point is I believe in the city so much that I believe it could be elevated. So I hope nobody hears me talking shit. Like I'm not saying the locals are worse than people from big cities. No. I think the potential for excellence is better, but until the city kind of demands it, there's the people won't rise to the occasion, and that's just kind of a natural law. So I think until like more people kind of from out of town come in and keep elevating the standard, a lot of local businesses won't thrive until they raise the standard, and they will eventually because we're not going to have a choice. In New York or in LA. But also you could just choose to pretend like you're in one of those cities, and you could just do it at a different level, knock it out of the park. Out of the gate.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of local places will be like, oh, looks like looking around, we're the best. We're doing the best. We're making money. We've been here forever. Obviously, we're the best.
Yeah.
But they haven't looked at what other cities are doing necessarily. They haven't, and not that we have to be like other cities, because I don't think we do, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think we do.
Nope.
But we need to push ourselves to a higher standard than we see around us.
Yeah, I think the potential is infinitely there. So just because it's local doesn't mean it's good. If we could support what is best, then that makes everybody better.
Yeah,
and that's kind of my point.
Yep,
that's totally. I love the city enough to say I think so many people have so much more potential.
Yes,
and I think that's really what I want to get at. So, anyways,
it's a fantastic way to put it, and I totally agree. All right. There you have it. Cool, man. It's good to have you on.
Peace and plants, as Ritual would say. Peace and plants.
There it is. Thanks, buddy.